everybody. Here's another video I'm doing on our 1967 Camaro Super Sport. It is a real SS 396 car. Decodes as an original 396, 3¼ horse, 67. I'm selling it for a good customer of ours. She's owned this car since I think 98. Had a little write-up in a Good Guys magazine on the car when it was she took it to the local Good Guys show and they did a little wrote-up on it. The car has really nice body and paint, some small imperfections like a couple tiny chips, stuff like that. Nothing major. I haven't seen any rust. She had this car taken down to bare metal, sandblasted when she restored it in the early 2000s. The car was black when she got it. She painted it the original Merino blue color with blue interior. It was a 396 Turbo 400 car. I can say body is nice and straight on it. The paint is good. It's current. The way I decoded the engine and transmission, it looks like they're both from 1971. I think it's a 71 402 and a Turbo 400 from 1971. It's got the 15-inch rally wheels on it. The chrome and the stainless pretty good. Glass is decent. You know, there's a little bit of older glass, so some light scratches and stuff. But it's got all the original GM stamps on it, except for the front windshield. I even think the rear window's been replaced and the front window's been replaced. Looks like it's original side glass. The interior, she restored. Blue interior. Has a little bit of wear. She's driven it. She's taken this on longer cruises from the Seattle area down to hot August nights and stuff in Reno. She's driven it there, driven it home. So it hasn't just been a garage queen. She takes it to a lot. She took it to a lot of shows. The only reason she's getting rid of it is she's a car girl. She has numerous cars and she's buying a Cameo Chevy pickup and she's out of room, so she decided to sell this one and make room for the Cameo. It's got an upgraded stereo. There's a couple things the tack isn't working, although looking under the hood I noticed there's no wire coming off the distributor, so I'll probably look into the see and get that tack working. It has an old school aftermarket radio deal. It was in the car. She just put it on the car. It's not hooked up. There's an aftermarket stereo in the glove box for sound. Oil pressure, fuel gauge works. The temperature gauge is not working. The battery gauge works. Factory radio in it, but it's not hooked up. I'll go pop the hood. Show you under the hood. So the underhood's been cleaned up. It's nice. It's not a perfect stock looking one, but everybody has their own idea. So like I said, I believe when I decoded it off the engine stamp, there's still an engine stamp and VIN number on it, so it doesn't look like it's been decked. And the casting number, I believe it's a 1971 402 motor. Starts with a C, so I think that means it was a car motor, not a truck motor on the engine code. She upgraded it to power front disc brakes. It does have power steering. Decent car. I'll fire it up here in a minute. Take you back here, look under the rear end. It does have the 12 bolts under there. It's pretty clean on the bottom side. She put a new fuel tank, everything in it. Like, she took it all the way down when she restored it in the early 2000s. I'll fire it up, do a walk around with it running. get a HEI ignition in the back. Headers, ceramic coated headers. Good sounding exhaust. Nice little cam in it, sounds good. There's a couple things. So she lowered the car, gives it a nice stance, but I think she's running a little bit too big of a front tire. So they do rub a little bit on some of the bumps when you drive. We'll go drive it, you probably hear it, because our roads are really ruddy and not the greatest roads, because it's Tacoma and they don't maintain the roads the greatest. So let me mount up the camera and we'll go cruise around the block. Okay, so we're fired up. We're gonna go cruise around the block. I just take the normal little cruise, but it's just to kind of get you to see how the car drives. And I always say you should drive better when you get away from here, just because the roads aren't the greatest. Sometimes there's a little rattle, maybe in the exhaust somewhere. This is a noisier car than the last video I shot with that Chevelle. It still drives pretty nice down the road. See, there's that tire rub on the big, there's a nice little big bump right there. And I think if it had a narrower tire, I think that would help that. I also think, personally, I think it looks good, but I think it could be raised up. I think it's a little bit too low. Doesn't give it enough suspension travel. Car seems to have good power. Transmission seems to shift well. The speedometer is fairly accurate. We're doing about 30. Probably that would be pretty right. We're going slower than the speed limit because I'm following this guy in front of me. More road noise, right? Engine noise when you're driving. I'm hoping the fuel gauge is accurate because I don't want to run out of fuel. It's below a quarter of a tank, but on these old cars, I don't even know if you put all new stuff in and how accurate it is. A lot of these aftermarket parts are just, I don't know what this has in it, but when I sometimes replace sending units, they're not even accurate. So if it was my car, I'd probably, like I said, I'd probably lift it up a smidge. They did lowering. I'm going to avoid this big giant pothole here in the road because it's awful. But it does give it a cool stance when you look at it when it's sitting in the parking lot and you walk up to it, you're like, man, it's kind of got the right stance. It's just, I think the tires are a little too big. Brakes are good. This car though, you know what? It probably could use like, I bet you could sort almost everything out for like $1,000. You know, and that would be changing out the front springs or changing the front tires so they're a little smaller. You know, maybe hooking up the wire to the tack would be nice. She's just drove it for years this way, so in her mind, nothing had to be perfect because she enjoyed driving them more than making sure everything's perfectly functioning and everything. But she did keep up on the maintenance. The car does run and drive well. She's good. I don't hear any weird noises coming from the rear end or anything. I mean, all the little noises I hear are normally the suspension noises of the tires rubbing, because like I said, I think it's a combination of too low and too wide of a tire. Video. Try and just be honest with what I see in these cars that I know and I'm selling. Hopefully it helps that people get information about the vehicles that I have. Or if you're just a car guy and you like, you know, checking out nice old cars, that's fine too. Back it up in our shop here. You guys, if you like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Have a good day.